What's up, guys? I'm LAJ.
And this is Marvin.
I'm back at it again with another video. So it's that time of the year again. It's going to start getting crazy. In the MLB, a lot of teams are in the lead and a lot of heavy contenders, especially in the American League. In the West, though, and in the National League, that's where things are getting complicated and not many teams are standing out. But there is a team that is starting to surge at the right time. And with every trade deadline, this team is always involved and always mentioned with every single player and every single team out there that's out of contention, and that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Um, we see what's going on right now with the NBA offseason and how crazy that's going to get, and that's coming up in a couple of days. The MLB trade deadline is almost as crazy, and it could get just as wild, and it could pretty much determine whether a team wins a World Series or makes a huge mistake by giving up a lot of top prospects for uh, a dud. But I'm here with Marvin, so we're gonna definitely get into a bunch of stuff, a bunch of players that could potentially help the Dodgers in this 2018 World Series run. Hopefully, get back there and actually make it into the right direction. Marvin, what are some of your thoughts or some of the things that you're liking from this Dodger team right now?
I like the fact that everyone's coming together. As me myself, when we were a month into the season and we were already thinking about like that's it, it's over. Like no one's getting it together. Everyone's getting injured. And when that Corey Seager injury happened,
Mhm.
and I admit it, as soon as Seager went down, I was already tapping out because it was just too much.
We were at
Our starting
Disneyland.
rotation was in the
We
yeah,
were in the
our
happiest
starting
place on earth.
rotation was on the list. Yeah, it was way too much happening,
Hmm.
and everyone's coming together. So it's good to see that everyone's picking up where they left off last season.
Yep.
Everyone's everyone's coming back together. Matt Kemp, oh, big surprise. The best offensive player we have.
Yep.
And the fact that we're doing this without our starting rotation, our ideal starting rotation, and a lot of players out, it's and Turner as well. Turner's not performing,
Yep.
and it's nice to see the team playing like this and knowing that once Turner comes around and the starting rotation comes back, we could just take off, take the NL West, possibly get the top seed if we can, and make our way back to the World Series.
Absolutely, and there's still plenty of time for that. And the Dodgers are apparently June is the Dodgers' best month since like 2013, and they are starting to pick it up. And I'm gonna just throw in a couple of stats out there for you guys because I know there's a lot of stat cast people that really love hearing facts and stats. So let me throw this out there. One of the two biggest problems the Dodgers had early in the season, reason why they started off so bad, was the bullpen. So let's take it all the way to May 16th. From the beginning of the season all the way up to May 16th. The Dodgers bullpen was the third worst in ERA in the National League with a 4.54. The team was 16 and 26 at that time. Now, if we take it back all the way up to the last 31 games after that, they're the second best in the ERA in the National League with a 2.69. But yeah, there's some players in the bullpen that are really, really stepping up. And let's not forget all the times that the bullpen has had to step up because the starting rotation was riddled with injuries, and they've had to go and have pretty much a bullpen game. I think they've had three bullpen games this year, and they've come on top of that. As far as the offense goes, that's the other Achilles heel to the Dodgers. And we saw what they did against the New York Mets. Granted, it's the Mets. They still beat Jacob DeGrom, who's the leader in the National League, probably in baseball in ERA and WHIP, and they were able to beat them. Guess what? Auto home runs. That onslaught of home runs on Sunday, where they hit 7 home runs, one shy of the franchise record. And Marvin, let me ask you: do you remember when they had that 8 home run game or who was involved in it?
I can't recall. Why don't you refresh my memory, LAJ?
Well, it's the infamous Sean Green multi home run game back in 2002. So even with all that positivity going on, there's still ways for the Dodgers to greatly improve. And Marvin has so many great ideas and so many great players that he could bring into the Dodgers via trade. And let's be real, fans. Let's involve teams that are completely out of contention and not these teams that are in contention and we're trying to snatch up someone like Jose Altuve or Aaron Judge. Let's be real. Let's talk trades that could potentially happen and that can push the Dodgers to the next level of success. So Marvin, why don't you give us some of those players that could fill in right now and in what position are you talking about?
So I'm gonna start this off with bullpen. Now, some of you might think, "Hey, Marvin, you and LAJ just talked about how great our bullpen is," but reality is, last season we had a top three bullpen, and they blew it in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we've seen it, a lot of championship teams they stock up on their bullpen. That's kind of the key. If your pitcher gets taken out early, your bullpen needs to step up. And for the Dodgers, that hurt us this last World Series. You know, game two, they took out Rich Hill, and that kind of had a trickle effect on the bullpen for the rest of the series. They
Yeah.
got tired, they were overworked because I felt like Roberts only relied on a certain amount of guys. He didn't trust too many of his guys. So he kept going to the same three or four guys over and over.
Yeah.
And and the way I look at it is your bullpen just needs to be deep. We look at the Yankees, a deep, one of the best bullpens, very deep. And we just saw Washington. Washington, they already started making moves. They have Doolittle and Madsen as closers, and they just picked up Herrera from the Royals. So that's another closer added to their bullpen. So that just goes to show this is the era we're in. You know, it's kind of a small ball, and then just stock your bullpen. So I have two guys that I would really love to see the Dodgers pick up, but the first being Kyle Barraclough from the Miami Marlins.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
far
I
this,
like him. I
yeah,
like that.
he he's normally a relief pitcher, but Ziegler has been pretty bad for the Marlins, so they moved him to the closing spot. And just in the closing spot, he's been very well actually. So far, it's 7 saves with an ERA of 1.05 and 35 strikeouts this season.
Hmm.
And through 32 and a half innings pitched, he's only allowed 9 hits. So his opponents are 9 for 104 against him. So that's averaging out to basically his opponents have a batting average of .087
Oh
against
my
him.
gosh.
And another good thing is that he's not a free agent until 2021. So he's going to be under control for a while. And if you think about the Marlins with Derek Jeter right now, they're just selling everything. You know, even their vendors, they're selling their vendors too. So if you want to pick some of those up, they're available. Next up from the Oakland Athletics, Blake Trainen. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Another relief righty. So far this season, he has 18 saves with a 0.96 ERA and 46 strikeouts. And once again, as we know, the Oakland Athletics, they haven't said that they're sellers, but they're not contenders. And they have a very bad farm system, so it wouldn't hurt them to kind of start selling these guys off.
Hmm.
Now, I have honorable mentions. You know, we hear these guys year in, year out, but their respective teams haven't traded them, which is a surprise to everyone. And Brad Hand from the Padres, another name that people were very surprised that they didn't
Hmm.
trade him off last season.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the Padres, they just don't want to accept their fate and sell. So they picked up Eric Hosmer this offseason. I don't know what they're trying to do, trying to stock up, but they just need to accept it and realize
They're
that they're not going to
delusional.
contend.
Just straight up
Yeah,
delusional, believing they're gonna contend in the West for one, and just adding Hosmer and keeping Brad Hand. You have no rotation. You have no offense. You're last in the National League West. I really don't see any reason for them to continue trying to be contenders and snatch up these players. But yeah, you're right.
now, I really don't see the Padres kind of helping the Dodgers out and trading them to us.
Hmm.
If they do, they're going to try to take a lot from us.
Oh yeah.
But but he's even for having a down season, he's still having a good season. So like I said, any of these four guys, preferably Kyle Barklaw or Blake Trainen, like these guys would be ideal for our bullpen. And like I said earlier, you can never have enough bullpen. I know some of these guys are closers, but I mean, you can't rely on just Jansen alone. You can't throw him out there as we saw in the World Series. They try to throw him out there for 2 innings, and you can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna burn him out like that, and it's not really fair for him to have to purposely be put on pressure day in and day out, continuously, especially in situations like that. He's got to have at least one night off to perform at a very high level and be at his peak success, honestly. But yeah, completely agree. And I really like Brad Hand, but we'll probably have to include like a third team or maybe like a secret team. Have someone like I don't know, like the Orioles, and we'll talk about some of their trades. But maybe have the Orioles trade for Brad Hand, and then we snatch up Brad Hand from the Orioles, and then we finesse the Padres secretly. I don't know, somewhere like that.
Well, so, as long as we get them on the team somehow.
Absolutely. But those are great. Those are great pickups. Those are real solid pickups. We figured out, in a sense, some ideal holes that could be filled up. Uh, Now, for me, I feel like one of the biggest holes, if not the biggest hole, is second base. And Chase Utley, he just got back from a sprained thumb. He's not. I don't know. I've seen it a lot on social media where they call his arm the wet noodle. Granted, he runs out of the box, and he's a great leader and all that. But we need someone that's going to be producing. Logan Forsythe also just came back a couple of weeks ago, and last year and this year were down years for him, and he's not one to be looked at as a person of offensive factor. I feel like every time there's runners in scoring position or the bases are loaded, he's the one that comes up, and it's always either a double play, a pop fly, something unproductive. Very rarely does he get like a single, and if he does, it's with nobody on. Plain and simple. He has no speed. He has great defense, but at the same time, we need someone there. We've seen him try with Austin Barnes, Kike Hernandez, but we need someone who could take second base and is meant for second base. And the person that I really, really like, and I'm not seeing a lot of people talk about, is Scooter Gennett. Scooter Gennett is 28 years old. He's hit for power. He's hit for average. He's a great offensive and defensive player. He's speedy. And how great would it look having Scooter Gennett and, let's say, Chris Taylor as a double team players? Or when Corey Seager comes back, he'll be under contract for a minute. So that'll look so good, and he'll be under contract for a couple of years under team control. And the reason why I really like him offensively, in 2018, he's batting 332 with a 901 OPS, 13 home runs, 51 runs batted in. He doesn't strike out that much, and he's very productive at the plate. The best thing about him is he hits better away from home. Currently, right now, he's hitting 349 with a 912 OPS, and in June, he's hitting 301 with 825 OPS. If we're having trouble finding someone to place to lead off or hit second behind or even batting cleanup, when he's batting first, he's hitting 500 with a 1350 OPS. When he's batting second, which honestly would be even better and ideal, he's batting 529 with a 1556 OPS. If we need someone to bat cleanup, Matt Kemp isn't available, Justin Turner or Bellinger aren't available for whatever reason, he could step up. Batting 359.21, I'll take that all day. But for me, that's ideally the only person that could really come in second base and really start implementing his offense and defense right off the bat, getting with the Dodgers. We still got another hole and two more holes to fill up, and I want Marvin to get into the next one.